Okay, I'm going to go handheld here. I'm probably going to make you seasick, but I'll explain what I'm trying to do here with the milling machine. These are two pieces of ramp, an upper piece and a lower piece, both around 1800 long, with rungs welded in them between two stringers, making the surface of the ramp around 250 millimeters wide. Those rungs are at 100mm spacing, and it's all made out of inch square tube with 1.2mm wall thickness. Now, these are two pieces of ramp that fit inside each other. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that there, but it's like two C-sections that fit up inside each other. Each individual ramp is 3 inches thick, consisting of a lower stringer, a top stringer, and spaces between the stringers. And I've tested those, and each piece is quite rigid over the 1800 length. Now that's the top section of the ramp here, and the lower section of the ramp is fitting inside that first section, that being the top of the ramp there, and this is also the top of the ramp here, this being the lower section on that side and the upper section there. So the ramp, the hinge end is that end. This end is the end that fits over the bumper bar of my truck, and it's also down here you'll see the tapered end where it will fit down on the ground. So this is the top of the ramp, the bottom of the ramp, and between the two sections I've got just a 16mm gauge piece of steel holding the two apart to give a bit of clearance, and then there's also some 5 or 6mm strips there aligning the top and the bottom in the vertical. I've got this ramp mounted to the sides of these angle blocks that are firmly on the mill bed, and toe clamps coming through, one holding the inner each section with an extension between the two. The G-clamp in the middle took a bit of a bow out of it. Again here, two toe clamps bolted through to the angle bracket, keeping it all vertical and very rigid, and these pieces of plate just keeping the spacing right. Now, why have I got it in the mill? I want to bore a hole here which will go through one section of the, in this case, the upper section, and also through the lower section of the ramp, all the way through, so that I can drop a bushing in there and weld it in, on the other side, from the other side, another piece from the other side, and then put around a 1/2 inch bolt through. I say 1/2 inch, I'm not an imperial person, but I've got some 1/2 inch cap head bolts that look ideal for the job, and I'm likely to use those. So this, I'm anticipating this being a 20mm hole bored through, all the way through the tubing here, which is be 25mm or 21 inch by another inch. It's got to go through 2 inches of material plus a gap between them, so about 2 1/4 inches deep hole, and I'm going to interpolate that hole. I'm going to interpolate that hole with the CNC function on my mill. I'm probably going to use, I think this is a 12mm carbide end mill. Now the cut down through this tube is going to be interrupted because it's going to be cutting through the webbing of the tubing like that in both cases, and so impossible to drill the hole there. It would just wander all over the place. A milling cutter spiraling down with me perhaps raising the knee to get the depth of cut right, see what it sounds like as it goes, will churn this hole out all the way through there. And I'm going to do that again on the other side, turn the whole jig over and do it on the other side, but let's get this first side done properly first. Now, so that's a 6 foot long plank on the mill table, and you'll see it's set right to this one end. In fact, where I want to machine here is off the end of the table. So to get the head of the mill over this location, or near enough to over this location at the moment, I have turned the turret right over to the corner of the machine, and I've also extended the ramp out towards that corner, and now the bed of the mill, the knee of the mill, can still jog around that area and give me an interpolated circle right out on that corner. I don't know whether you can see how the mill is set up. To get that like that, various cables are stretched, even my USB cable going to my laptop. You can see how far the laptop head is away from the milling head at the moment, so the USB cable was strained to get there, and I had to adjust the pivot on the computer to get that to work. Now, I have already used the jog function on Mark III to see that I've got room to move around that area with in fact a couple of inches in every direction, so it will interpolate properly over there. It's the first time I've used the turret, rotated the turret, and with this mill riser block, it's given me extra clearance over the top of this 10-inch thick ramp to do this job. I've actually got loads of clearance there. I probably would have been able to do it without the riser block, but it's given me loads of room, and it brings everything up a nice distance off the floor rather than me having the knee down much closer to the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and machine that hole out. I'll come back to you.